If you grew up in the late 2000s, you're most likely familiar with all sorts of strange Nickelodeon sitcoms, with humor that is nowadays incredibly painful to watch and rather questionable. When thinking of these shows, most people will bring up the classics, like iCarly or Drake and Josh. But another one of these shows which doesn't get talked about nearly as much is Victorious. Though it doesn't get talked about much now, it too was quite the success back then, with an avid viewer base and a 4-season run. So, as any semi-successful Nickelodeon IP from that time, this show too got its own video game adaptation. Actually, one wasn't enough, so they made 3 games. So of course, I had to find out what these games had to offer, because obviously I really want to fulfill my dream of living that Hollywood arts lifestyle. So are these games actually good? Or are they just more sloppily made shovelware license games? Let's find out. As you'll see going forward, the plot in these games is going to be pretty similar. The premise of this one is that there's an upcoming play happening at the Hollywood Arts High School. To be precise, it's a modern rendition of Romeo and Juliet, for which the school's most popular dude, Beck, has already secured the male lead for. Now, basically every girl in the school is ready to brawl it out for the part of Juliet. We play as the show's main character, Tori, who also wants to win the audition. You could say she's gonna be taking the lead.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Sorry. Our main rival for this audition is our friend, kind of? Or bully? I can't really tell.
Help me in. I can do tragic. Yeah, it should be easy. You are pretty tragic.
Jade, whose sabotage and mischief will also have to handle, since she's also pretty keen on smooching with Mr. Pretty Boy over here. The game itself is pretty much just a point-and-click adventure game, taking place within various locations from the show. It's cut up into multiple chapters, in each of which Tori and her friends face some kind of issue regarding the play, and we have to play the messenger for everyone by running around the entire school to get stuff for others who are apparently just too lazy to get it themselves. Then, once you've solved the problem, you can indulge in one of the characters giving some kind of sing or dance performance, which is really just a rhythm game. The game actually has a decent amount of polish, with, by Wii license game standards, pretty alright graphics, although the animations can be slightly unsettling. The character models look pretty good, and especially the different environments in and around the school are pretty well made, and make you feel like you're actually in the show. It's also fully voice acted by the actual cast. The story and dialogue also seem to match the wackiness and absurdity of the show, although I didn't remember it being this weird. For example, this dude, Sinjin. I don't really remember him from the show, but here he's constantly collecting people's hair, teeth, and he has a soundboard of all the girls from his class to make them say things.
Listen to what else I can do.
Of the boys, I am so close to Sinjin.
What?
That fills me with warm thoughts.
Or Andre's grandma, who's a conspiracy theorist against iPads? Their teacher Psychowitz, who apparently starts tripping because of coconuts? The rest of the cast is, like in the show, just pretty obnoxious. Except for Andre. He has a flaming guitar. He's fucking cool. Early on, the game as a whole was actually pretty bearable. The gameplay is pretty dull, yeah, but the dialogue and the rhythm game intermissions kept it somewhat fun. And it would have been perfectly fine if they didn't stretch it out to infinity. Holy shit, this was way too long. It took like 13 hours to beat this, which doesn't sound like much, but mind you, that little loop which I explained before is the entire game. Conflict, fetch, quest, dance. Conflict, fetch, quest, dance. And so on. On repeat. Actually, every part of the game was on repeat at some point, because every dance sequence had the same song. The dances would eventually repeat themselves as well, and in almost every area, you'd hear the same song in an infinite loop. Even the story beats were insanely repetitive, because first Tori has to win the audition, then their teacher decides that both Jade and Tori won the audition, so now Tori has to win an audition off against her. After winning that as well, we have to deal with Jade's sabotage. Then the play is cancelled because we forgot to sell tickets, so now we have to try to sell the tickets ourselves. We then sell almost enough tickets, but not quite enough, so the play is cancelled again, but then it isn't, and blah 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 blah. Play happens. The end. The fetch quests also just drove me insane at some point. Tori, can you get me this? Tori, can you do my literal job? Tori, can you tell Andre I need his help? These kids literally have iPhones! Why in the world am I running around playing mailman for y'all when you can just text each other? And when it comes to the dance sequences, it would have really helped if they had multiple songs or added some other kind of twist to the dances themselves to mix it up a little. Because although it was initially kind of fun, it became mind-numbing incredibly fast. Conclusion, alright game for what it's supposed to be, just went on far too long. In this one, you actually don't play as Tori, but as yourself. Before I could start, I first had to create my own, very accurate-to-life character. Yes, I am definitely built like this, I promise. And there's not that many short hairstyles, so now I just have cornrows. After doing that, I can finally enroll in Hollywood Arts High to make my dreams come true. I'm greeted by Beck and Tug. Oh my god, what happened to your face? Wait, did they just put a JPEG of Tori's real face on the model? That looks uncanny as hell! But wait, they did that with all the other characters. So then, whose face am I wearing? Oh, and then there's the food truck guy who's just a straight up PNG. So you can see the devs had priorities. Anyways, this game is structurally quite a bit different from the one before. You still walk around the school, find people who have problems, and help them solve them. But this time around, instead of having to do fetch quests, you play a minigame to solve their problem. But now it's not just the same dancing rhythm game every time, it's multiple differing ones, which makes the game a bit more varied. There isn't much of a story this time, other than you getting introduced to the Hollywood Arts lifestyle, becoming friends with everyone, by being their errand boy, and eventually starring in one of the school plays. Some of the missions are, once again, kinda bizarre, like this one where Andre wants to get stung by a bee. Like, dude, I don't think you need my help for that. But otherwise, it's a lot more toned down than the Wii one, which is kind of a shame. This one is luckily much shorter than the first, it only took around 3 hours to beat. And with a bigger variety of minigames and minimizing the fetch questing and tedious walking around, it should be better than the first game. But it really isn't. Because having more variety in minigames doesn't help when the games are all straight ass. Yeah, the Wii game only had one rhythm game, but at least that one game was well made and actually fun. These ones are just so boring and slow. One of them is just Simon Says. This one is Overcooked, but for seniors. This one here is Happy Home Designer for toddlers. This is just straight up Guitar Hero. And here we have Vandalism Simulator. Although the last two were actually somewhat enjoyable. The level of polish and charm from the environment and dialogue actually makes the Wii game much more enjoyable than this one. The fact that this one doesn't even have voice acting already takes so much away from the humor. Although I have to say, the whole playing as yourself thing here is pretty neat, especially since you can unlock new costumes to totally drip yourself out. I mean, look at me. Tell me I don't understand fashion. Now, with me having completed my career, having become a certified teenager star, let's move on to the final game. This game has the same name as the one on the Wii, but that's basically the only thing they have in common, since they play completely differently. This one is by far the shortest, since it only took me about an hour to beat. In this one you can actually choose who to play, either Tori or Jade. Since I've already played as Tori, I decided to play as her evil twin, Jade. The story here is pretty similar as the Wii game, just much more concise. There's a big play coming up in which Beck once again has already claimed the male lead. Are there no other male actors than Beck in the school? Cause why the hell is he getting all these roles? And of course, Jade and Tori once again compete for who gets to play the female lead to once again smooch Beck. This time it's not Romeo and Juliet though, it's the Vampire Queen and the Simp, I guess? Gameplay wise, this game has a fundamental difference to the other two, which is that there's zero walking around in this one. It's basically just a visual novel with minigames in between. The way they settle their conflicts and disputes is simply with dance battles. And you know what? These are actually kind of fire! The dance battles make use of the touchscreen of the DS by making you draw arrows for each move. There's also QuickTime events where you have to tap on as many stars as possible for a bonus. It's obviously very simple, but the sheer fact that it's always a different song makes it stand out so much more compared to the other two. There's also a few other minigames which are randomly sprinkled in, and these are actually funny and good. One of them is stage fighting, which starts out really slow but keeps getting faster and faster. There's this one where you can whack Trina out of a spotlight, and lastly there's this one where you have to help this puppet, Rex, help flirt with girls, while making sure that Robbie just doesn't start talking, no, that he just doesn't look in their direction. It's also great how each one of the dances has a unique scenario, like this one where they're playing Just Dance, or this one where we see Psychowitz's coconut drug trip. Yeah, this time you can once again unlock different outfits for your character, as well as decorations for your locker. This game really doesn't overstay its welcome, and packs its 1 hour of playtime full with varied and fun content. Although it falls short to the Wii game when it comes to the story, gameplay wise this has to be my favorite. And with that, I've played all noteworthy Victorious games. Now, are they licensed game trash? Yeah, what else could they be? But honestly, I'm not much of a fan of Victorious or anything, but for an actual fan back then, I think these games would have been insanely cool. I mean, making yourself a character in your favorite show, or better yet playing as Tori herself and exploring and interacting with that world you love watching, that must be awesome for them. And seeing how heavily these were actually being promoted back then, with the actual cast being in the Wii one and all, I feel like they did the best they could, and didn't just shit out a 3D platformer or kart racer with Tori's face on it. So props for the devs on that. Now you'll have to excuse me, I have shows to attend as the certified teenager star. Bye losers, and see ya!